Hello everyone, welcome to my Majora's Mask Japanese grammar explanation-y typey thing series. Obviously doing Majora's Mask this time. The title's probably going to change, is it just now? Damn it. I needed to check that text. So obviously in Japanese we have Zeruda, meaning Zelda, and then Densetsu, meaning legend, and the no in the middle is just used to link the nouns together. In this case it's possessive, but this isn't always the case with no, so don't assume that to be the case. So yeah, Zeruda, not Densetsu, just meaning Zelda's legend, or Legend of Zelda. I've got to press start again. And then we have Majora, which is the Japanese pronunciation of Majora. Don't know why it's so different, but there you go. Majora no Kamen. Kamen just meaning mask. This one meaning like surface, I think. Men. Surface. And this one meaning... that kanji kind of means like hypothetical, or... does it mean hypothetical? Anyway, the two together just mean mask. So, yeah. And again, we've got this no in the middle, just Majora, mask, or Majora's mask. Let's get into the game a bit. What the hell is written here? Leo mahi wayo yuo. Okay. Seems this was just on the ROM that I downloaded. So, I guess someone who didn't know what they were doing saved a file. Because this makes no sense. Might as well go over the file screen, because I can't assume everyone's watched the Ocarina of Time playthrough that I did. But we've got fairu, meaning file. Fairu sentaku, this one meaning to select. And I think this one, I guess it also means to select, but for some reason you need them together to make it into a noun. Or it's just a common noun form of the verb to select, so it's file selection, fairu sentaku. Fairu ichi, this crazy name that makes no sense. Fairu ni, just file 2. Copy, which is obviously katakana of copy. Kesu, meaning to erase, which I'm going to do. Yep, delete that. Get rid of that. And then we've got opushon, which is option, obviously. Sound stereo monoraru headphone surround. So I'm going to go surround. These are all just English words, aren't they? Stereo, mono, headphone, surround. And then L chumoku type. I'm playing the GameCube version, apparently, from the collector's edition, which I actually have a physical copy of. So obviously it's L chumoku type. And chumoku just means to like focus on something, to pay attention to, I believe, or to focus on. And we've got switchy and horudo. Obviously going to go hold because switch is horrible. And then akarusa chekku sampuru, which just means akarui, meaning light or bright. And basically with these kinds of E adjectives, any adjective that kind of ends in an E in its default form, its positive form or whatever, you can just change the E to a sa, and it kind of means the amount of that adjective. So in this case, normally this means bright, but with sa it's brightness. I suppose you could say it with like... well, with anything, really. Maybe like warui means like bad or evil, so warusa is like the amount of badness or the evilness of something. But yeah, so this is just brightness check sample, and I don't even know why you'd want that in the game, but apparently we do. I'm going to call myself Omae in English letters, just so we know for sure when we're being spoken to by our name and not the character in game calling us Omaya. And here we have namae nyūryoku, which just means namae, just meaning name, and then nyūryoku kind of means to input information or to type. So we have, that says hiragana, meaning hiragana. That says katakana, meaning katakana. And then we have eisu, which I believe means like English and numbers, like English characters and numbers. Eisu. And then we can start, I guess. Yes. I've got to remember my hotkeys. I hope that's paused it. Here we have Hailaru ni tsudawaru oke no densetsu. Which is kind of weird because there's not really a point to this. Like all of the information before this is just modifying this word, which means legend, as we've discussed. And it says Hyrule in, like, to spread or to be passed down or to be conveyed or whatever. So an in Hyrule conveyed, or, well, it's not even past tense, is it? So it's like it's still being conveyed, I suppose. In Hyrule convey royal family legend. And it's kind of weird because it's not saying there is a legend. It's not saying this is a legend. It's just simply stating the word legend with all this information, modifying it, which, you know, seems to be fine in Japanese. But, you know, if you just said royal family legend passed down in Hyrule, if you said that in English, people would be like, you know, what? You know, it's you'd need to say that there is a legend. You'd need to have a point to it. But in Japanese, it seems you don't. Soko ni hitori no shounen ga toujou suru. Soko ni. Excuse me. So I believe maybe the Soko basically means at that place, at that point, maybe. The ni is just like a general preposition that's used in Japanese. Very few prepositions in Japanese, which is quite nice for us. Really horrible for Japanese people learning English because there are so many prepositions in English. But yeah, so I think this is just like at that point or at that place or something. Or at this point in the story, or maybe it's just saying in that legend. Maybe in that legend. Hitori just meaning one person. So a single, or a, as we would say in English, I suppose, a. And then few years. So few years basically just means young boy. Because the boy has a few years. Shounen, he hasn't lived for, you know, dozens of years. He's only lived for a few years. And for some reason, shounen can mean young boy. So a young boy, obviously there's no in the middle, just linking the kind of the number to the noun. You could swap this around. You could say like Soko ni shounen ga hitori toujou suru. But if you put the number before the noun, you have to link it with no. That might be useful to know for later. So Soko ni hitori no shounen ga toujou, and this just kind of means to like make an appearance. So it's kind of often used with like in like dramas or TV or like plays or theatre where a character makes an appearance onto the stage or the scene. But in this case, I think it's just saying that like this, you know, the young boy appeared, made an appearance. Yeah, it says entry on stage, appearance on screen, entrance or introduction or whatever. So that's all that's going on there, really, is that a young boy appeared at that point in the legend or something. Let's continue. Okay. Kyo aku to tatakai hailalu wo sukutta no chi. Wait, not nochi. I think that's nochi. We'll cover this bit first. So this first kanji basically means giant or big, like epically big. And then aku, as it's read here, means bad or evil. So it's this giant evil or great evil. To, meaning just with. I suppose in this case, this to just means with. So with a great evil, tatakai. And tatakau is the default form of this verb, which means to fight. I think in this case the u has changed to an e because it's a little bit kind of proper Japanese. I won't say formal, but it's kind of very proper, kind of literary Japanese, I think, where it's like this e is used just to allow the sentence to continue after it. You couldn't put tatakau and then continue the sentence. And normally you'd say tatakate and you'd use the te form of the verb. But in this case, it's just saying, having fought with a great evil. And then Hyrule and Suku means to save or to rescue. And this, this ta at the end just makes it past tense. And there is relative tense in Japanese, which is kind of funny. Doesn't really matter in this case, but I think you have to use like a past tense if you're going to talk about what comes after something. Even if it hasn't happened yet. You'd still use past tense, which is weird, but as I said, not really relevant in this case. But yeah, that's the past tense of to save. Sukutta. And I think this is all just kind of setting up the point of what comes after that happened, which is all this. So, great evil with fought. Hyrule saved after. Kare wa, kare just meaning he. Kare wa densetsu kara sugata wo keshita. So he, from the legend. Sugata is just like your form. It's one's form or one's shape or one's body. And this is pretty common in Japanese to say sugata wo kesu, which means to like erase your form, or to erase your body, or to vanish, to cause your body to vanish. It just means to leave. Sugata wo kesu just means to leave something. But if you look at it literally, like we just did, no, that's fine. Okay, I don't know why my dictionary didn't tell me what was going on then. Yeah, so if you look at it literally, it just means to erase your body or to disappear your body. So yeah, he, from the legend, vanished, disappeared, left. That sort of vibe to it. Toki wo koeta tatakai wo oe. Kare wa hito shirezu tabi ni deta. So toki meaning time. Koeru, I believe, just means like pass over something. Like I suppose you could koeru over a river or koeru over a bridge, possibly, even though you maybe would prefer a different verb for that. But obviously it's saying you kind of crossed time. You crossed through time. You passed over timelines and stuff. Although I think this is modifying this, which is kind of a noun form in this case. last time, even though it was the same form, the particles tell me in this case that this is a noun that we do this verb to, because this what here is like a direct object particle, which means this verb is done to the noun before it, the noun to which what is attached. So I know in this case that this is a noun. So yeah, it's funny with Japanese. You can kind of pretty much go backwards. So you can kind of say like finish, or having finished, I suppose, having finished the fight or the battles that crossed time. Having finished the battles that crossed time. He, kare wa, again, kare wa, hito shirezu. Hito shirezu, it seems it means like just unknown to people. Like literally, hito shirezu, kind of, this one meaning people or person, and this one meaning to know. And shirezu, this zu is kind of a negative form of the verb. Sometimes it's used. Obviously it's being used here. But my dictionary says secret, hidden, unseen, or inward. So basically ignore the last two definitions there. It's a secret journey. So he, secret, tabi is a journey or a trip. Excuse me. Ni is again just a preposition to. So he, like on a secret trip or to a secret trip. Deta, and deru means to just kind of go out or to depart somewhere to do something. There are other meanings, but in this case, we'll just go with that. So deru means to just leave onto something or to depart onto something, and deta is just the past tense form. Yeah. This one used to kind of catch me out because even though it's a single text box, I feel like the text box afterwards is required to finish this information here. So we've got Bouken no owari de wakareta, and it's not finished. So that's why I'm kind of saying it like that. Bouken meaning adventure, owari meaning just the end of something. Again, this is kind of the noun form of that. The standard dictionary form is owaru, but owari makes it into a kind of a noun. So, yeah, the adventures finish, and then de. De, I should be better at explaining by now, but I'm kind of not. In this case, it's kind of like at the point of or with the end of the adventure. At the point of the end of the adventure, or because of having ended the adventure. Like, you can kind of see it as like by means of or by using the thing that becomes before it. Or as I said, I guess in this case it's like Bouken no owari de. It's kind of like just at the point at which the adventure ended. Wakareta, and this is past tense of wakareru, which means to like part ways or to say goodbye, to split up as well. You can used in relationships when you split up from someone, you wakareru. But yeah, I suppose in this case it means like with, in the sense of with the end of the adventure. And then, as I said, I'm going to need the rest of the text box to explain this. But often in Japanese, people say like sore de, meaning with that, having said that, with that done, and then, you know, the next point, we can continue on, or whatever. So de, we'll see a lot of de, I'm sure. Hopefully you can get like the hang of it as we go. But wakareta. Need the rest of the text box, please. Kakegaya no nai tomo wo sagasu tabi ni. Oh my god. So kakegaya no nai. I think that just means like irreplaceable. Okay, yeah, so kakegaya means a replacement. And I'm guessing that might be used... Honestly, like, I've just clicked kakegaya in my dictionary. And all of the example sentences that it's given are using this whole word as a whole, which is kakegaya no nai. So it's like nai meaning like to not be or to not exist, and kakegaya being a replacement. So it's like an irreplaceable, to not exist a replacement, for there not to be a replacement to something. And again, we've got this no kind of just linking. It's a bit weird, really. Kind of linking the replacement noun to the verb to not exist. But that's a pretty standard form. Kakegaya no nai. Yeah, just irreplaceable. To not have a replacement. I think we'll just leave it at that. No need to go over that. That's the most standard form, so just accept that that means irreplaceable. Tomo, meaning friend. More commonly, if you say friend, you're going to want to say tomodachi. But in this case, you know, you haven't. Don't just say tomo. If you want to use the word friend, don't use this. But in this case, they've opted for this one. So tomo wo sagasu. Sagasu meaning to search for, to look for. And then tabi ni. So I suppose, again, you could almost do most of this backwards. It would be like on. In this case, on. It's just a general preposition. But on a journey to search for... Kind of, that doesn't mean for, but to search for a irreplaceable friend is sort of what's going on there. Right, let's carry on. I really hope the sound levels are alright. Kind of sounds a bit quiet, actually. Oh, forget it. Uh-oh. We've been done. He's got us. Okay. So we just got hee hee. Just laughing. Omae tachi umaku yatta na. I don't know what voice to do for him. So omae tachi. Omae just meaning you. Honestly, I don't really know if in the time that Zelda is set, I don't know if Omae had quite taken on such a rude nuance yet. So I think it might be, you know, it's not. I think it's for your inferiors, but I don't think it's quite taken on as bad of a meaning as it has nowadays. Having said that, even nowadays, it's not You know, there are worse words. You can get away with calling people omae if they are sort of below you in the hierarchy, I suppose. But maybe at the point that Zelda's set, omae isn't even as bad as it is now, even though it's not that bad now even. So omae, tachi, this is just like a pluralizer. So it's just like you guys, you two. Umaku. Umaku, well, the standard form is umai, I suppose, which means skillful. Skillful. And then umaku, changing the i into a ku, kind of makes it into an adverb. So it's like skillfully, or well, or effectively. There's all these kind of different words for it. But umaku yatta. And yaru just means like to do something, I suppose. Just means to do something. And then yatta is the past tense of that. So skillfully did. You did it skillfully. You've done well. And then the na at the end is kind of just... What is that doing? Umaku yatta na. I suppose it's kind of rhetorically not like asking for agreement. It kind of is, but rhetorically. It's kind of like saying, you guys did well, like, haven't you? But it's... Yeah, no, it's probably best just to think of it like that. You've done well, haven't you? But obviously not expecting a response to it. And this na is kind of is rough, a bit rough. Normally, most people would say ne, umaku yatta ne. But because he's obviously like, you know, trying to be a bit, you know, a bit hard, I suppose. He's saying nah, because it's kind of more manly, I guess, more villainous, I suppose. And then we got nanika ii mono motte sou ka. Nanika, just nani, meaning what, and ka kind of just makes it into something. It just kind of means something, or some kind of, or what kind of, I guess. Nanika ii mono. I meaning like good, something good. Mono meaning simply just like an object or an item, or thing. So good thing. Some kind of good thing. And motsu means to have, motsu. But in this case, it's using the te form, modde. Wait a minute, why is it motte souka? Motte sou. I guess that sou here is kind of like... Sou is like to seem to have. So is he saying like... Did he seem to have something good on him? Or does he seem to have something good on him? Motte souka. Does he appear as though he has something good on him? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I should probably mention this. This is a vowel like elongator. Normally with this so, it would be so and then u, like the hiragana u. But everyone kind of knows that, so you can just use this stick to elongate the vowel sound. But just in case you want to look this up, it's not so, it's so, even though the sound is exactly the same. And then this ka here, I think he's just kind of asking himself, sort of thing. He's just kind of, he's not really asking them. He's just kind of asking out loud, kind of thinking out loud, sort of thing. Are just kind of is a slight surprise noise. You kind of just make it when you're a bit surprised. Oh, is that what's going on here? Is this the Skull Kid recognizing Link from the Lost Woods in Ocarina? Yeah, it might be. I never even Never even noticed that until just now. But he's going, are koitsu? And koits kind of means like this guy. It's quite rude. You can't really say koits. And this kind of, I think this kind of has the same kind of ka, sa. No, I shouldn't say that really. It's ko, so, and do. Or I should say, should I say that? Yeah. There's this kind of rule. Let's go over it now. Yeah, there's this kind of interesting rule in Japanese where you have the same sort of three, like, are they relative pronouns? I'll just go over it with places, right? So with places, koko is here. Soko is like there, where you are. So soko is for the person that you're talking to. It's where that person is. And then a soko is somewhere that's distant from both of you. So you're talking about somewhere where neither of you are. And it's like, it's over there. And then doko is where. And that kind of applies to like a lot of different words. Like in this case, you'd have koitsu, meaning this guy near me, this guy, and then you can have soitsu, although people don't use it very much. I think you can have soitsu, meaning the person, the sort of piece of shit over there near you. Then you have aitsu, which is like the person, you know, that we're discussing that is near neither of us. I don't think you have doitsu actually, but yeah, koits. So it means like this guy, this prick, this knobhead. It's pretty rude. So don't go around saying this. But aitsu is very commonly used for villains when discussing villains in media. They often say aitsu. But yeah, I'm sure that sort of stuff will come up. Oh, well, there he said ma ika. Ma just kind of means... What does ma do? Ma, it kind of best translates to the word well in English. It's like if someone asks you a question. Maybe someone asks you, oh, so you're learning Japanese? And you go like, well, kind of. It basically means the same as that sort of well. It's sort of, you're kind of reeling in their expectations a little bit. And you're not, you know, you're trying to be modest about it. You're trying to be kind of, not big it up too much. You go, ma, well, yeah, I am, but... And so in this case, he's kind of going, ma, like, well, let's have a look then, you know. He's not necessarily expecting anything like, you know, massive or whatever. Or he's not massively enthusiastic about, you know, searching you for stuff, but it's just like, well, let's have a look, you know. That's the most important item I have. This little kid. So he's going, Kirei na ocarina ne staru kito. Well, let's go over that first bit first. So this is obviously him just stuttering. Kirei na ocarina. Kirei just means like pretty, I suppose. It can mean like sort of clean, tidy, neat, pretty. It's kind of all of those words mixed in together, but in this case it obviously kind of means pretty, lovely ocarina, pretty ocarina. And this is a na adjective, which basically means that it can kind of function as like a... No, it can't. No, I won't say that. Never mind. But basically, you need na in the middle to attach it to a noun. So it's kirei na ocarina. So there are na adjectives and there are e adjectives, and they function... Like grammatically, you have to do different things to them to use them. And then this ne is just kind of like saying, hey, like to the skull kid here. She's got an hey staru kiddo, which I don't know why it's I don't know why the Japanese went with staru kiddo rather than skull kid. But it's important to remember that katakana is not necessarily, you know, words from English. It could be from any language. So staru might be from the language where the English got the word skull from, and therefore it more accurately matches the pronunciation in that language. Possibly, I don't know, possibly, but so staru kind of means skull for some reason. Staru kiddo. And then we've got boku ni mo. Boku is just like a kind of a very modest pronoun used by men. Women can use it, but most women won't use it. But boku is kind of gives off a little bit of a boyish vibe to it, or it kind of gives off a bit of a. It's not asking for massive respect or anything. It's not arrogant at all, boku. But yeah, it's kind of used by young men mostly, but can be used by anyone, like I said. We'll go over this first because it kind of explains these bits a bit better. Sawaru, I might just pause it because that's getting on my nerves. Sawaru means to like touch something. Sawaru. And this is the like causative form of that. So what you do is you take the last like character, the last hiragana, the last kana, perhaps I should say, from the verb, and you use the a form of it. So in this case it was sawaru, but we change it to sawara, and then you put seru, sawara seru, which means to cause me to touch. It means to like let me touch or to make me touch. Doesn't have to be me, but it means to make or to let someone do something. And in this case we've got the te form at the end, so it's we've changed the last ru into a te, making it into like a request. So sawarasete means like to let or to allow someone to touch it as well. And then this boku obviously means that the fairy is talking about themselves. Ni is just a commonly used particle with the causative form. So this without the mo would just mean like let me touch it. Let me touch it. Allow me to touch it. But the mo here, this is the like inclusive particle. So in this case, it's like saying, let me touch it as well. In addition to you, also allow me to touch it. Let me touch it too. More simply. Yeah. Oh, go on, press A. And then we've got Anta wa dame yo to leilo. Anta is obviously kind of just a what's the word? A slight shortening of the word anata. Becomes a little bit ruder because you're saying anta. It's not very polite actually, anta. But au anta wa dame. And dame just kind of means unacceptable. Has quite a few meanings, I suppose, but in this case it's like unacceptable. To not be possible, I suppose, is also an option. It's impossible, unacceptable, just sort of means that you can't do something. Either it's not possible, or it was ineffective, or it's just unacceptable. That's what dame means. Loads of meanings to it, but yeah. It's just negative generally. Excuse me. And then toreru is just this guy's name. Toreru. What was his name in English? Is it tail? Anyway, toreru in this. This yo here just sort of strengthens the force with which she says this. So if you just said anta wa dame, it's kind of a bit more rude in a way because it's so short. Anta wa dame. But because she's put yo on the end, it kind of she's insisting a bit more. She's telling you that you can't. Anta wa dame yo toreru. But as I said, in another way, it kind of makes it less short and less cold for that reason. But yeah, that's what yo does. It just it's sort of when you're telling someone something, it kind of adds a bit more authority to it, a bit more insistence. It's not always negative like it is in this case. It can be like positive, like maybe if you tell someone that something's okay, you could say yo. You could say yo, which means insisting that it's fine. So it's that's what yo does anyway. Just kind of emphasizes that something is the way it is. Otoshite ke ga demo shitara dou suru no? It really bothers me that they don't just put question marks, because there should be a question mark here. Otosu is the dictionary form of this verb. It just means to drop something. So it's otoshite, and this is the te form of that verb, which, as I was saying earlier, this is the more normal way that you would allow sentences to continue on afterwards. So that's all this does in this case. It just you're saying otoshite, drop it, and it just allows the sentence to continue. Kega demo shitara. Kega, isn't that like injury? I don't know if it means. I don't know if you can have a kega on an object. So it might be kega. So it might be that, like, kind of worried about him hurting himself, I think. But isn't that different in English? Doesn't it say, like, if you drop it and damage it, what would we do? Because kega here, my dictionary says injury to animate object. I shouldn't have used the word object, really. An injury to something like, that lives. A living thing. So kega shitara. This shitara here, basically this is formed from the verb suru, which means to do something, or it can sort of mean for something to occur or to be happening. It's a bit different to the English version of do. But yeah, it comes from suru, kind of meaning, as I said, to happen or to do something. And we've got this shitara. This is a weird verb to be doing it with, because suru is like an exception verb that doesn't follow, like, it has very, very different rules to most other verbs. But basically what happens is you use like the past tense of the verb, in this case shita, and then you put ra on the end, and it kind of means like if this were to happen. So if you were to hurt yourself from dropping it. Demo is a bit irritating. Demo kind of means like even, or I don't really know how to explain demo. Because honestly, it doesn't. I haven't really got the hang of it properly yet. Kega demo shitara. You could ignore demo. You could just say like kega shitara if you hurt yourself, And then do suru no. And this kind of means like, as I was saying earlier about the the ko, so, and do kind of thing. That's kind of that happens a lot with this. Like ko is like this, so is like that. The will skip because it's a very different form, but do is like how, in what way. So in what way will we act? What would we do? And then the no at the end is just kind of very kind of inquisitive. It's a very inquisitive sentence ending particle. Do suru no? Like, what would we do if you hurt yourself? And it's kind of asking him to consider that, like sort of quite inquisitive. Do suru no? So if you drop it and hurt yourself, how would we do? How would we act? What would we do? And then she's saying, abunai kara sawatcha dame. Abunai just meaning dangerous. Quite simply, abunai kara, because it is dangerous, sawatcha dame. And this is a kind of a shortened version. We said earlier that we had like sawaru, which means to touch. And then if you take that verb, excuse me, and make it like negative, you can say like sawara nakute. No, wait, what is going on here? Sawatcha dame. Sawatcha dame. Basically, it's just a very casual form of saying that you cannot do something. Sawatcha dame. Yeah, like as we said, dame means like unacceptable, to not be possible or whatever. Sawatcha. Sawatcha. I think basically these just go together very often. And you can just kind of change. You kind of make the verb past tense. But then you. Do you? It's kind of following the rules of making it past tense. But then changing it a bit. It's quite casual, I think. Sawatcha dame. Let's do it with like another verb. For example, taberu is to eat, right? And if you did tabecha dame, would mean the same thing. It's like, you know, you cannot eat this. You must not eat this. Sawatcha dame. So you kind of just alter the end of the past tense verb and say cha instead of ta, I suppose. Tabecha, sawatcha. What other verbs exist? Shinja. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Never mind. Shinja dame. Oh, maybe it does work. I don't know. That's like you must not die. Dying is unacceptable. I don't know, man. Anyway, that's a bit annoying. It comes up sometimes, but not that often. And then he's saying, Dakedo ne-chan, boku mo sawaritai. Dakedo just meaning like but. I'm just going to pause it again because of that noise. Like dakedo. Like kedo is like but. And I think da here, it's kind of weird. This da kind of applies to what was just said, I think. The da is like a declarative. It's tough to explain. It might not even be doing that. But I think it's like this applies to what she just said. It kind of means like, that's true, but if you were to try and look at it. I think it does. It might not. Dakedo can kind of be used as its own form, I think. So maybe we'll just go with that. But essentially it just means but. And then ne-chan just means, you know, older sister. And then chan is kind of a very familiar suffix that you add to people. Ne-chan. It sort of shows a lot of familiarity. Obviously kind of most often used with like women or girls. Ne-chan. But yeah, shows a lot of affection with it, a lot of closeness. and then he's stuttering again. Boku mo, like I also. Sawaritai, and this is like the desire form of that verb. Sawaru, you change it into the stem of the verb. Sawari, and then you just add a tai to the end, and it means that I want to do something. I have the desire to do something. Boku mo sawaritai. I also want to touch it. It takes me a long time to get through these text boxes, doesn't it? Give it back. You Ocarina stealing. Get him! My horse! Yeah, that took a long time. Most of my videos in the past have been like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, so I'm going to leave this one here. We've gotten like nowhere in the game, but I suppose like initially there's kind of a lot of grammar to cover because, as I've said in the past on other series, I'm not going to assume that everyone's watched all the past videos that I've put out, so I have to cover all the grammar all over again. So I suppose the first part, you know, is going to be long, you know, until we've covered enough grammar that I don't have to cover it anymore. You know, it's going to be sort of a slow start to the game, I guess. But yeah, that'll do for that one. Hopefully we'll get actually into Clocktown in the next part, or at least by the end of the next part. But yeah, that's that. So thanks for watching. Hope it was worthwhile. And oh yeah, no, I forgot to mention. I'll probably edit in a little message at the start of the video actually. But there are Google Docs in the description. I usually type out all of the text that we covered in each part as we go, so that you can, you know, copy it, look at it, whatever. You know, you don't have to find which kanji it is. You can just sort of use the document to copy and paste or add to your decks or to look it up or whatever. So there will be the same document linked in each part to this series. So yeah, you can refer to that if you need to. Yeah. Alright, cool. Well, thanks for watching. Hope it was worthwhile, and I'll see you in the next one.